Hello and welcome back to the Total Drama What If series. I literally uploaded the other one like 30 seconds ago, but we're doing this one today because honestly this one isn't going to be that interesting. The reason is, if y'all have been following this series, this has already happened multiple times, at least a little bit, with Bridgette getting saved. This is Bridgette's episode. But I decided to switch it up a little bit, and instead of it being like what if Jeff betrayed the Guys Alliance and saved Bridgette, instead, it's going to be, what if the Guys Alliance had a different target? So yeah, that's how we're going to do it today, even if it is a little unrealistic. I just want to change things up so it's not incredibly boring. But of course, first we do have Ezekiel. We have Eva. Again, y'all, if y'all do want to see any of these characters... No, what the hell am I talking about? There we go. If you do want to see any of these characters have their own episodes, which they do, you can go to the playlist that has all of these, from Ezekiel to now Bridgette. The Sucky Outdoors was Katie, Phobia Factor was Tyler, Rainbow Deer Hunter was Cody. The Screaming Gophers really don't lose that often. Do that. Up the Creek, Izzy. If you can't take the heat, maybe I might pivot over to Disventure Camp and then go to Action and then Disventure Camp. Season 2, and then we'll see. Well, probably not Disventure Camp Season 2, because that one, well, by the time I finish Action, the Season 2 remake will probably be out, because that should be soon. We'll see what happens, though. Maybe I'll do like one Total Drama one a week and one Disventure Camp one a week. We'll see. If you can't take the heat was Sadie, Beth, Courtney, and Harold. Okay. Yeah, there's 2 more Gophers than Bass coming into this. And then a Bass and a Gopher return. Okay. So girl, guy, nope, guy, girl, guy, girl, girl, guy, whoops, guy, and girl. And the Brunch of Disgustingness, the guys still win due to Owen. And then we get to the merge, where, hold on. Hold up. Where Izzy and Eva are brought back, and Eva's eliminated immediately, and Trent's still eliminated for getting kissed by Heather. So then we have Hide and Be Sneaky. Now, for Hide and Be Sneaky, hold on, I gotta bring back up the... Okay, now let me close all these before my YouTube videos start playing. I had to Control-Shift-Key like 5 tabs to get the episodes back up, because I have... Okay, so yeah. Alright. Who originally wins immunity in this? Let me go to the bottom here. Is it... It's not Heather. Okay, it's Lashana. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, Bridgette still wants to vote Duncan, but I don't think that happens. Instead, I think that they get the guys, and their goal is probably not to vote out Heather. They want Heather to stay because she's such an easy vote off. Instead, I think Duncan recognizes that Jeff won't want to go for Bridgette just yet. So instead, he decides to have the 5 of them go ahead and take out Heather's biggest ally to show that she's not in control. So because of that, they go for Lindsay. And the reason I decided to do this is because that puts Heather in a pretty bad state without just getting her out immediately, because I feel like he still wants Heather to be here just to be weakened. But that does change that's off the chain. There we go. Quite a bit, because now that Lindsay isn't here and Trent isn't here like last time, who's getting out here? Now Bridgette is probably just pretty average at this, but then probably doesn't make it that far, maybe barely into the final round. Then Izzy and Lashana are still gone. I mean, we have Duncan is the one who originally makes it the farthest, and I think nobody actually crosses the finish line. And you know what? If that happens, no one crosses it. So I think we actually get a normal elimination round with no one winning immunity. I think that's what happens in this timeline. So these 5, I think Duncan's realized at this point, if he keeps Jeff and Bridgette happy, he has a locked-in final 5. Then he can get Bridgette out then Jeff, then he can face Owen and DJ, which are like incompetent. So he wants to keep the Heather, Lashana, Gwen thing going. Like this whole hate alliance, or well, not alliance, but just hate. So the 5 of them take out Izzy, who is kind of on Heather's side, but also is just crazy. And also, Owen might be a little opposed to that, but they haven't like full-blown made out yet, like they originally do in Hook, Line, and Screamer. But one little complication is that DJ still gets fucked in Hook, Line, and Screamer. So yeah, there's no reason to believe that would change. Heather's still here, so you can't even argue that. But yeah, I think at this point, Lashana realizes that her, Gwen, and Heather need to win. Need to team up, even if they win. There is no immunity while we're not Gone Wild, because the Guys Alliance is just gonna, well, I mean, it's not even really the Guys Alliance anymore because Bridgette is an official member, but that alliance of these 4 is going to destroy the 3 of them. So Lashana makes Heather and Gwen put aside their differences, and the 3 of them work on getting somebody on their side. And I think they are able to convince Duncan that Owen is trying to betray him for getting out Izzy, and that's off the chain. And because Owen's still been kind of mad about it. And Duncan believes this because he's been kind of paranoid of his thing going to shit. So he votes out Owen in Wawanakwa Gone Wild. A very confused Owen, I should say. So then we have the Trial by Triumph Triathlon, where Gwen and Jeff still go together. Bridgette and Lashana and Heather, and Bridgette and Duncan, for sure. Because remember, Bridgette still doesn't like Duncan. And I think the people who actually win here are, it's actually close between Lashana and Heather and Gwen and Jeff. And I'm going to give it to Gwen and Jeff. Because Lashana and Heather probably start hating each other and end actually becoming not friends, but allies. They both respect each other's game at this point. So they agreed to have a final 3-pack along with Gwen. Meanwhile, Bridgette hates Duncan, and Jeff and Gwen got along. So when Duncan brings up voting out Gwen, I guess we'll say Lashana and Heather wins this. That'd just be better for story. So Lashana and Heather win, and when Duncan brings up voting out Gwen, the 5 of them all vote out Duncan, getting him eliminated. Then there's Haute Couture, which I'm actually gonna change, because you would think, oh, it's Lashana for sure. And there's been a lot of times where Lashana's still gotten out over Jeff and Bridgette. But I think Jeff and Bridgette's love story in overcoming Duncan, along with the fact that Lashana is now friends with Heather, which probably gets Katie and Sadie to like her a little less, they actually go for Jeff, and Jeff gets eliminated right here. Leading us into Camp Castaways, where it would be a pretty uneventful episode, to be honest, because everyone here is just chill and smart and serious game players, or at least chill. She's a little clumsy. They could maybe play with that. Then there's Are We There Yeti, where I think we get our Gwen and Heather versus Bridgette and Lashana. Well, would we get that? Because, yeah, they're forced to be on team, so they want to do... and also in this timeline, Bridgette and Gwen are a little better, a little closer, because they didn't vote out her boyfriend. So, yeah, I think this is probably the way they do it. And I think Gwen and Heather probably aren't too bad, and Bridgette and Lashana aren't too bad, so I think it'd be pretty close. But I think... do I think Gwen and Heather win? I think Bridgette's clumsiness causes them to lose, because that they can actually use that for her character. And I think because of that pitiful loss, I think Chef takes Bridgette out here. Because, I mean, outside of that, Bridgette really doesn't have any connections with Chef, and neither does Lashana, so I think that's all he would go off of. So then we have a triple dog dare you, and normally you would easily say Heather gets teamed on like Gwen and Lashana, but at this point, Gwen and Lashana, Gwen and Heather have pretty much made up, and Lashana and Heather are pretty much, like, they're pretty chill. So these three have made up, and they've all decided to just go for it. So now this is a matter of who has the highest endurance. And of the three, I think I'm going to go with Gwen. Oh, by the way, yes, Gwen still resents Heather for kissing her boyfriend. That's obviously a huge thing, which is why it took longer for Gwen to make up with Heather than it did for Lashana to make up with Heather. So I think Gwen still has the most endurance, which is why she's always has her final 5 lock-in, which means she has her final 4 and her final 3 and her final 2, so she makes it to the finale. But out of Lashana and Heather, I think we get Heather out here. I think it would be a lot more noble. She wouldn't get her head shaved or anything, but I think Heather probably gets out here, and Lashana makes it to the final. And in this timeline, Lashana, I think, actually deserves the win more, especially for her being able to somehow flip them being on the bottom 3, Heather, Lashana, and Gwen being the ones getting picked off, into having DJ, then Owen, then Duncan, then Jeff, then Bridgette get out, and then having them be the final 3. They went from bottom 3 to final 3. So I think Lashana definitely deserves the win here. But that's going to do it for this episode of Total Drama What If. Again, these are so easy and fast to make that, you know what? Let me check my schedule real quick. 11. I might actually make a third one today. I might go crazy and make Lindsay's today. In fact, I'm gonna make Lindsay's today, and that's off the chain. So tune in for that, and I cannot wait to catch you on the next one. See ya.